Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Elizabeth Warenberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today, whether it's your first time watching my videos or you've come back again. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much for being here with me today. Today's topic is, am I too independent? Is it possible to be toxically independent? Obviously, if I'm making a YouTube video about it, the answer is yes. So we're going to talk about what that means, examples of what that might look like, how to overcome and rewrite that for yourself moving forward. Okay, so toxic independence or being too independent is the other word for it is counter dependence. And so this means that you grew up, your childhood programming was either you did not have your needs met from a very, very young age. So you had to fend for yourself. You had to grow up very fast. It wasn't safe for you to ask for people to support you because you didn't have any emotional, physical, financial, whatever support growing up. Or you were in very, very codependent, enmeshed households or childhood spaces growing up. So your energy, there was no boundaries. So from both of those examples, they're two sides of the same coin. I learned that it's not safe to rely on other people, that people can abandon me, that even if someone is trying to support me and be there for me, that they're just not healthy about it. They can't make their business their own business. They have to enmesh me in it. They have to drag me down into their feelings. So both of these examples, even though they might seem different, send us the message that it is not safe for me to ask for help. I'm terrified to ask for help. It will not work out for me if I ask for help. So anything like this. And so maybe you're saying like, oh, well, I didn't have that traumatic of a childhood, or it wasn't that big of a deal. Okay, when we're children, we do not have the brain capacity to understand that other people's limitations, especially adults and people who are supposed to be our caregivers, we don't have the brain capacity to understand that their unhealthy behavior is about them and not about us. And so as a child, the only way we can process that is like, oh my God, something must be wrong with me that this person can't show up for me, take care of me. Or if they are showing up for me, they're trying to make me responsible for their feelings, for whatever they don't want to deal with, anything like this. And so again, this is a trauma response, and you don't need to justify or explain. One incident can cause you trauma for your whole lifetime. It could be many isolated incidents over and over again. It could be a compounding of incidents over and over again. But if you're watching this video, probably talking to you, probably counter dependent in some way. Okay, so let's start with that. So some examples of this, what that looks like of being too toxically independent. It could be that you try to do everything all on your own. So for example, if you want to start working out, or you want to start having a more healthy relationship with food, instead of hiring a nutritionist or a personal trainer, you decide to spend 400 hours online teaching yourself all this stuff. And you're going to make a plan for yourself and you're going to figure it out. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's your passion, if you have time for it. But where it becomes toxically independent is if it would grant you more emotional freedom and peace to just pay someone to do that for you, and you can use their services. So counter dependence, an example here is like, if you could afford, and it would make your life more peaceful and easier to hire someone to help you do that, but instead you decide, no, I don't need them. I can teach myself anything. I can do anything. I'm going to teach myself all this stuff, and that's how I'm going to get through it. So that's an example. Another example, if you're the strong friend, so you take pride on always checking in on other people, always managing other people's emotions, always remembering, oh, this person is going through this, and so I'm going to help them do this. But you don't allow yourself to have any support the back way, like the other way. So if one of your friends does try to offer you support or reach out to you or take care of you in any way, you say, no, I'm good, no problem. You just can't accept any help. You don't accept any favors without doing one back or paying someone, or just accepting that maybe someone might want to help you and assist you in that moment. You aren't someone who is willing and able to allow that reciprocal energy, even though it's someone who could possibly just be acting from the kindness of their heart, whether they know you or not. So it could be a very close friend, it could be a partner, it could be a coworker who, you're working through something and they could assist you one time on a project just because they care about you and want to help you, and you don't let them. Could be when you're at the grocery store, if a stranger is trying to hold the door for you and you don't want them to, you don't like it. Just basically this deep, deep fear of asking for help or being reliant on other people is scary. It's not going to work for you. It doesn't serve you. And it's just not something that you feel like you can have in your life. So why this is problematic and messed up is because as human beings, we are interdependent beings. We're a species that we rely on our community, we rely on support, we rely on being connected with other people. But most of us with counter dependence, we grew up around people or had a family unit or caretakers or whatever, where they were very, very unhealthy, and we internalize that within ourselves. And so we have in our brains being interdependent on someone means I'm not safe, means I'm going to get harmed, I'm going to get abandoned, I can't have any boundaries, whatever your individual story is for you. So you can take some time and reflect on that. What did I learn about relying on other people? What did I learn about having a safe space to share who I am? Getting clear about the stories and messages you learned and internalized is how you can then start to rewrite them. So once you're clear with that and you decide, okay, being interdependent is actually very healthy. I deserve to receive the same type of love and care I'm sure you are more than willing to do for your friends, or other people, or just being a kind, good person. So once you decide that this is something that, you know what, it's not so bad, I do want to allow it in my life, it is something that can be helpful for me, which is good, okay? Some ways that you can overcome this is, you don't need to go find all new friends or family members, or maybe family members, okay, but you don't need to go find all new friends. Maybe if this is something you want to try with your friends, if it just doesn't have to be everyone, but just picking one friend and saying, hey, I'm going through a tough time. Do you mind picking this up from the store for me when you go this week? Or one that I do with my friends a lot is we just message each other and say, hey, I'm stuck in like an emotional loop, like a bad feeling about myself. Can you just remind me that I'm a good person, or that this, and this thing about me? So just being very clear and feeling comfortable asking for help from someone who you feel like is safe. So in your current relationships, I'm sure your friends already want to love you and support you. And so just kind of breaking that bridge and opening that space for that to be something that's possible for them to do to you. If you don't ever give them the opportunity, part of overcoming counter dependence is we need to learn to ask for our needs to be met. Not everyone can meet our needs. And this, again, isn't going to the point where, I'm not going to do anything for myself and I need everyone to do everything for me. But it is about making our lives easier. It is about practicing living in community. It is about trusting other people to show us that we can have loving and safe relationships where we do take care of each other. And so you can try that with your friends. You can try to move that relationship in that way, just getting very clear about your needs. It's going to feel scary. It's going to feel good, just like anytime we rewrite a pattern. But you have to know that it is going to be worth it once you do start to ask for people to support you in those ways. And again, just remembering you're not doing it to get something from them because you're a bad person, because you're weak, but because you know that this is how human beings are supposed to show up and love and support each other. We're not supposed to harm each other. Unhealthy relationships are not enough for us to grow out of suddenly being an interdependent being. That's just not true. It's just not how we are. Another way maybe you want to practice this, if depending on your faith or your spiritual practice, if you meet people who have alignment with that, if you go to Codependence Anonymous or Alcoholics Anonymous, maybe at your religious gatherings, if you volunteer somewhere, just trying to build a relationship with someone you feel safe with and then trying it out to see if that works for you or not. But at the end of the day, we have to remind ourselves, even if you're asking people and people remember and want to show up for you and want to try to show up for you, if you don't give yourself permission to be supported, you're never going to overcome this counter dependence. So if you don't give yourself the chance to open up that possibility, to have that relationship, have that conversation, let someone support you, even if you feel so scared while you're doing it. The first times I had to unlearn this and work through it, it is very scary because it does require vulnerability. It does require you to trust someone, maybe in a way that you wouldn't before. And so it's totally normal to be afraid about it, but we shouldn't let that stop us from asking and reaching for support from people who we know love us and would be, I'm sure if you're more than willing to do that for someone, then they would be more than willing to do that for you. And again, none of this means that you're weak, that you're a bad person, that you can't take care of yourself, that something's wrong with you. Okay, we are interdependent beings until we die. That's why people go to therapy for their whole life. There's obviously times that are more intense than other times, but we do need that support. That's why people have support groups for things that they go through. When we have moments in our life where we're not robots, things are going to go up and down. We have moments in our life where we need extra support. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with us. It just means we're human beings and we are allowed to, and we should encourage a healthy interdependence for ourselves and for people around us. And so if you've never existed like this before, of course it can be challenging. Of course it can make you feel like, oh my God, I'm stupid or bad, or something's wrong with me because I need someone to help me do something. Like, no, it just means you're a human being who needs someone to help you do something. That's it. Okay, so I hope this video served you. Thank you so much for joining me today again. If you ever want any information about how to work with me one-on-one, book a reading, purchase my books, all that is below, links in the description box. And again, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful day.